Hello, I'm Thomas Waterhouse. This is the latest world news from Paris. First then, it measured 9 metres in length, weighed almost 10,000 kilograms and carried 11 tons of explosives. The US has dropped its largest conventional bomb ever unleashed in combat. The device targeted Islamic State group positions in Afghanistan, with President Trump calling it a very successful mission. The district governor, where the bomb hit, described seeing the biggest explosion he's ever witnessed, with towering flames engulfing the area. Sharon Gaffney has more.
The mother of all bombs being tested at an airbase in Florida in 2003, the GBU-43 has never been used in combat by the US until now. American forces dropped the bomb in eastern Afghanistan near the border with Pakistan, targeting underground tunnels used by jihadists from the Islamic State militant group.
The GBU-43 is a large, powerful, and accurately delivered weapon. We targeted a system of tunnels and caves that ISIS fighters used to move around freely, making it easier for them to target U.S. military advisors and Afghan forces in the area. The United States took all precautions necessary to prevent civilian casualties and collateral damage as a result of the operation.
The bomb contains 11 tons of explosives and is the largest non-nuclear weapon ever used by the US military.
We are so proud of our military, and it was another successful event.
Analysts say the bombing was intended to be a display of military might.
59 tomahawks in Syria, now the biggest bomb ever built, apart from a nuclear one, of course, and then this deployment around Korea. So it's a show of force globally in the world, and that's very important for the Trump administration.
The White House declined to confirm whether President Trump had personally approved the bombing, which comes a week after the US launched a missile strike on Syria in retaliation for a suspected chemical attack by the Assad regime.
Well, for days now, the West has pointed the finger of blame at his government for carrying out last week's suspected poison gas attack in Syria. Now, Bashar al-Assad has given his take on events in an exclusive interview, saying that claims his army orchestrated the attack are a 100% fabrication used to justify US missile strikes against his regime. Luke Schrago explains.
Bashar al-Assad didn't mince his words as the Syrian president addressed swirling questions over a deadly attack on the northwestern town of Khan Sheikhoun last week.
There was no order to make any attack. We don't have any chemical weapons. We gave up our arsenal a few years ago. Even if we have them, we wouldn't use them, and we had never used our chemical arsenal in our history.
The town was hit on April 4th by a strike bearing all the hallmarks of a chemical weapons attack. Scores died, including many children, as the international community expressed its outrage. It accused the Russian-backed Syrian regime of using chemical weapons, and not for the first time in the war-torn nation's bitter conflict, as 59 US cruise missiles rained down destruction on the airbase from where the attack purportedly originated. The narrative in Syria painted a different picture, and authorities pointed the finger at rebel militias for gassing the town themselves.
The West, mainly the United States, is hand in glove with the terrorists. They fabricated the whole story in order to have a pretext for the attack. They were saying that ISIS doesn't have chemical weapons. They are defending ISIS against the Syrian government and the Syrian army.
British investigators have confirmed traces of sarin in Khan Sheikhoun, though it's proving harder to establish where it may have come from, especially with the Syrian government insisting it gave up its chemical warfare stockpiles in 2013. Moscow, for its part, said the gas came from a rebel arms dump hit by a conventional strike and blocked a resolution in the UN Security Council to push Syria to cooperate with the investigation.
Well, the US State Department has dismissed the Syrian president's comments as being vintage Assad, trying to create confusion, adding that the attack in rebel-held Idlib province is a war crime. Earlier, we spoke to Jonathan Paris, a Middle East analyst in London. He had this to say about Assad's interview.
I think it's consistent with his denials for the past 6 years. So I don't see anything new. The problem for Bashar is that there's quite a bit of evidence, video, pictures, televised pictures, I guess they're phone videos mostly, showing some pretty horrible things. These are the very pictures that moved Donald Trump to order the attack just 2.5 days later. So I think the evidence is pretty preponderant in favor of the U.S. version of the story and the Western version of the story, and pretty much against what Bashar tried to say in this interview.
Jonathan Paris speaking to France 24 a short while ago. Well, after military action in Syria and now in Afghanistan, focus is also shifting to possible future action by Washington against North Korea. The US president has said this Thursday that the problem posed by Pyongyang is one that, quote, will be taken care of, as speculation mounts that North Korea might be preparing a 6th nuclear missile test. Let's listen now to a snippet of what Trump has had to say.
I don't know if this sends a message. It doesn't make any difference if it does or not. North Korea is a problem. The problem will be taken care of. I will say this. I think China has really been working very hard. I have really gotten to like and respect, as you know, President Xi. He's a terrific person. We spent a lot of time together. We'll see how it goes. I think he's going to try very hard.